Friends, hello. Hello. Anybody here? It's Friday. Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, and it's been a busy week. It's been a busy week. And what is happening for me is that I keep getting a bigger, larger, more expansive perspective than the one before it. It took me a while to figure out that the left encompasses not only globalism, right? Not only banksterism, not only UNism, but also socialism, okay, communism, okay, the Bolshevik end justifies the means package. It's a package. It's a package of memes, okay? They use the same terms all the time. And that's how people identify themselves with the grouping because they are using the same vocabulary all the time. And that's the vocabulary they're comfortable with. And so it's all about feelings, and it's all about the right to be who you are, and it's all about injustice. It's all about overturning what's wrong, right? And that's the left. And my father saw World War II as a war between the left and the right. And he couldn't take either side because both of the sides were using bad methods. Now, on the right, okay, on the right, we have individualism, we have capitalism and rule by fiat, rule by oligarchy, hegemony, corporatocracy on the right. That was back then. That was when I was an infant. But things have switched around. Okay. Now, 70 years later, the oligarchy, hegemony, tech dominating forces are on the left. They're not on the right. And the people who are on the right are the ones who want to overturn the left, the globalist new world order in the name of some form of libertarianism or freedom, okay? Freedom under the laws that used to work when they worked, but they don't work anymore because the hegemony on the left has rerouted influence through NGOs, non-governmental organizations, has rerouted influence through democratic processes that they themselves dominate and control, have rerouted the decision-making process of democracy or republic or monarchy into channels that favor corporatism. So the right is for corporatism and the left is for corporatism. All right? They just have different forms of corporatism. And we, the people who have to listen to the Fourth Estate cacophony, the Hegelian dialectic after Hegelian dialectic, have to listen to the right-wing hegemony, talk to the left-wing hegemony and go at it, okay? They go at it, and the staged conflicts and disputes are the gaming, like, how about the wide web of wrestling. Okay, in the wide web of wrestling, you've got the bad guy and the good guy, and the bad guys and the good guys keep switching around. So you always have a fight going on. Okay, well, that's the same thing in the press today. Did Epstein die, or did he get a witness protection contract? Was he suicided, or did he suicide? Was he buried, or wasn't he buried? Was he this, or wasn't he that? You know, it's a continual mill of back and forth accusations that are not adequately supported by evidence. But that's the gaming here, okay? Whether we're talking about ecology and climate geoengineering that makes weather unstable, or whether we're talking about medical care, which isn't really care, it's disease care, because the care consists of visits, procedures, tests, and prescriptions. That's what the allopaths are locked into. All right. Cancer is an industry. Dentistry is an industry. Eyeglasses are an industry. Abortion is an industry. You see, everybody is cut up into their little identity folds. And so watching this, I'm saying to myself, when are the people going to get tired of it? Because we're being gamed 16 ways to Sunday, all right? Even academics with their peer-reviewed sciences, all right, edit and censure themselves who become too far off the beaten path. And so scientists are still talking about a spinning ball Earth. They're still talking about the moon being 226,000 miles away, which is crazy. They're still talking about the sun being 92 million miles away, which is crazy, all right? They're still talking about a South Pole, which doesn't exist. They're still, all right? You have to understand the whole thing is a game. And every part of it is a game within a game. And what we need to get back to are the behavioral laws of causes and effects. When I am nice to you, you can be nice to me. This is called quid pro quo. When I sow good relationships, what I should get back would be good relationships. When I pay forward a 10% tithe, what I get back is the power of 10, and I'm able to live without poverty. But in the fiat debt collection scenario, I'm gamed into accepting the role of debt, which depletes my reserves. That's what the role of debt is, to deplete your reserves. It's all gaming, whether it's on the left or on the right. And the methods are all straight out of the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. They're straight out of the protocols. And that's why it doesn't matter left or right, because their methods are destructive in each and every case. The good, sensible, reasonable laws and statutes that used to work out for good outcomes are being overruled by bribery, protection rackets, vices, and all of that. And I'm not particularly horrified or taken down, because in our holy books, the cycle between the good society and the miserable, lousy, bad methods society shows up as a cycle on the wheel of experience. And so what I realize and recognize is that it's all going to come out in the wash. And the reset that we're set up for, due to the mathematical limits of the fiat debt system and the ecological limits that are created in war, and the physical biological limits that are created by contaminated vaccines, contaminated food, contaminated water, contaminated air, and 5G. You know, it all comes to a screeching halt every once in a while. Okay. And so then we're back to Noah's flood and we have to start over again. All right. Apparently, the creation story is large enough to encompass all of that. It's all part of being a society in which people are not naive. They're not just dumbly obeying. They understand what deceit and treachery and betrayal and fraud, but they understand the gaming that goes on in the minds of people who only want their own aggrandizement. And so it's all going to come to a screeching halt. And that's appropriate. Okay. And so that's what is happening for me today. I'm seeing light at the end of the tunnel, that yes, we're on a train that's just about to go over a cliff. Apparently, the threats that the president is making toward the direction of China have an outcome of war between us and China. And I guess that's all right with somebody. I don't know, it's all right with you. I don't like the idea personally. And the fact that the Epstein matter is still just going back and forth between was it this or was it that or was it something else or was it something else? The Hegelian dialectic just never quits, means that anybody who's silly enough to read the mainstream press deserves the folly and deception that they're subject to. If you want to go that way, you can go that way. If you want to watch the TV that dumbs you down to the point you can only speak in mainstream media memes, well, I guess you can do that. You know, it's all about choices. And so here it is, Friday, and we need to think about things. And for some people, it's Sabbath, it's Shabbat. I backed out of the One Radio weekly show because I discovered that I didn't know what to say there. I didn't want to make things worse. It all works. It all works. My producer at People's Internet Radio is going to teach me how to produce my own shows. So that'll be cool. I got to get some new software and learn some new skills. Learning new skills is always good. So the weather is still hot here. It's still up in the 90s and 100s. And it only takes an hour or two for me to have to change clothes again. And I'm still with it, still hoping that you're still with it. And I'm hoping that more and more of my viewers and listeners will pay attention to the signs that you're being gamed to the max everywhere. In science, in religion, in academia, in journalism, in politics, it's all gaming. And that's what we have been taught by our ET progenitors, is how to game other people. And I would prefer to unlearn that if it's okay with you. I will try very hard to unlearn that, learn something new. So this has been Emily Craig, and it is Friday, the 23rd of August, and we're looking at Labor Day next weekend. And thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this old lady rant. And Thanks for your comments and your feedback and your support. You know, I don't do this except as a public service, so I don't expect any help. But when I get help, it's great. It really feels good. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.